a friend of mine found this online. You know that we don't have anybody coming in.
So we don't have anyone coming in, but the way we'll do it now is just for the record. So the pre-meeting, we record the audio, right? Because there's a quorum. And then for our actual meeting that we'll start a recording of it. We're just going to keep using Zoom to do that because we found that it's a good way to record stuff. So
okay.
So somebody's not coming in?
No, just three of us.
So is that Bill's food or?
Yeah, that's for Bill. If he'll come in, he's got that. Now, are we ready to start?
Yes. Oh wait. Oh,
check it with me.
You're not asking me.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Well, call the meeting to order. Why don't we just do a quick roll call? Meeting of the Landmarks Commission on April 20th, 2022 at the City Building. I'm Matt Christensen, Commission Chair.
Jesse Embry, Jason Bishop.
Dustin, right? Planning staff.
Okay. So I don't actually have the agenda in front of me. I believe the only agenda item is to talk about the historic home tour planning, so we can try and get some things finalized. So we have confirmed with the Provo Community Congregational United in Christ Church that they will host our meeting on June 16th at 7 p.m. And based on our conversation from the last
June
meeting.
16th, right?
Yeah, June 16th. Yeah, it's a Thursday at 7 p.m. Based on the conversation we had in our last meeting last month, we decided to do something different rather than have homes on the tour like we've always done, that we're going to do historic houses of worship, which could be very inclusive.
Well, except that what we were talking about was also not inclusive because we were looking at non-LDS.
Yes, well,
churches.
well, I would think LDS as well as others, to look at just what they are. So I guess the question is, what houses of worship do we want to consider on the tour besides the community church on, you know which one that is, that one on University Avenue, 175? Yeah.
And
St. Mary's said that they would.
Oh, St. Mary's.
They responded.
So
yeah,
somehow-
we just need to get the
somehow
date.
all of our emails didn't get sent to Matt, and Matt.
Yeah, I don't think I
me.
don't think I saw those.
Okay.
And I didn't get an email from him. The reason why I said the one about the book, because I was waiting to hear from him, and I had never heard from him, so.
Okay. So you responded to somebody email? I'm trying to remember.
Did I respond to one of the emails? Maybe I did see it, and I just don't remember.
But
that's entirely
Because
possible.
I sent mine about the book, because I had not heard
yeah,
anything from
you
Matt.
responded, and I
And
threw
then
out
you threw the one about the St.
St.
Mary's,
Mary's work.
and almost immediately after I sent out the book.
So I'll follow up with St. Mary's and let them know the date because they
We're
want to
talking
make sure.
St. Mary's Episcopal Church, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's just around the corner.
Yeah,
They have a brand new pastor. I
great.
went to Thursday service for Holy Week there. And, but I did not try to talk to her because, well, it's kind of busy order.
Yeah. So I'll let St. Mary's know the date, the time.
Great.
If they want to have someone there. I don't know if we're planning to have people go in any of these that are willing to go in. But,
Yeah, so when we talked about it last month, we kind of thought that we would just do sidewalk.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought, but it sounded like they
But
were.
it sounded to me like that since they're so close, but they could also go in.
Yeah, the only, and I don't have a problem with that. My only concern is if it could get confusing for patrons if, as they're walking and seeing the different churches, if they can go into some, but not others.
I think that there probably will only be 2 that are walking.
Yeah, and it might not be an issue. I'm
Yeah,
just working, just maybe calm my fears.
And we can try to make that pretty clear on the handout or
brochure
whatever
thing.
that we
Yeah.
produce. It just say, these are views from sidewalk or whatever.
Yeah.
The case may be.
And there's no reason that they would have to view them on the 16th of June.
Right, yeah, they can go whenever they
They
want.
could go in if they want.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that we could say on June 16th,
These 2 will be open.
these 2 will be open.
That's a good plan.
And I can double check with them if they just said they would want to know the date so they could have someone available
Yeah,
there, which I guess assume would mean to go in. So I can clarify what they
What their expectations
would
are.
like or not like
Cool.
or whatever.
That'd be great.
They have a nice small church and they also have a fairly large cultural area.
Oh, do they?
That sometimes I've been to a community Christ meeting in that large area.
Oh, really? Okay.
Rented it out, so.
Cool.
We could possibly check with this Utah Valley Interfaith Association. See if they have any things that they might want to share. I know the chair, well, she did not hang around because she had to leave, is the bishop from the Community of Christ.
Oh,
who
cool.
I know
Cool.
not really well,
But you know,
but
what other churches do you think we ought to consider?
we had talked at one point about the Seventh-day Adventists.
Yeah, I thought the RLDS, the old,
I thought it was interesting, the old RLDS.
I think it's fascinating. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's an old RLDS chapel. It's a house now.
And it looks sort of like.
Is it over here in downtown?
No,
No,
it's
it's
right
kind
by
of over
my
here.
neighbor, it's on Fourth South, just off of Second West.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that it was a church once.
You would think it was a school.
Yeah,
It just looks like it would be what the school.
yeah, it's just kind of cool. I mean, it's just,
That is a cool piece of
and,
history.
and there's nothing really outstanding about the building.
Except the history behind it.
But it's the history of it.
It's intriguing.
And that's what's fascinating to me. It's just like,
So the
Who knew?
It's been for sale for several times. So the first time it was for sale.
I think,
I went into it and I finally had it. So I gave the realtor this paper I'd written about it.
oh, really?
And I said, I'm not interested in buying this, but this is what this house is. And she was fascinated.
Yeah.
it is fascinating.
It's pretty cool.
Are we,
And then it's the way that they had to
Where
make
was
this
that one, Matt?
tiny
I don't know what the
space.
address is.
So it had even a bedroom was to put a loft upstairs.
yeah,
So I don't think we'll be able to see inside, but it's been on sale.
Yeah, I went
At least 3
inside once
times
a few years ago, like 10 years ago, maybe.
Well, it was just
8
on
years ago.
sale.
Oh, for sale.
3 or 4 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
oh, I think you said tour.
So
Sorry.
my real estate agent was showing me other houses, and so I said, "Do you want to see this?" So
Cool.
it's really
here's
interesting.
idea.
What other churches are there
Okay,
that
so
are there? I don't even know.
Well, and that's the idea, right? So,
That we find.
St. Francis is no
Not-
longer there.
not
so,
there anymore.
Apparently, there's a Jehovah's Witness,
There is?
but in 1986 there was.
Oh. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out notes.
If they're doing in South County, we could do the one that really cool, where they have all the over in Salem, the Krishna.
Oh, the Baha'i.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baha'i. That'd be interesting to include,
But we're doing.
but we're doing Provo.
Can you go to 491 north, 1280 west, 1280 west,
91 north, 12.
80 west? Jehovah's Witness still is. Looks like. I mean, based on the record that I
When was
just
it
saw.
built? What's
1962. So it is over 50 years old.
yeah.
Is there a scratch piece of paper I could steal?
I can try and, I don't know, come up with.
Oh, yeah. I want to keep this for like finalized things for the record.
So the Seventh Day Adventists.
So what was the Jehovah's Witness, 491?
North, 1280 west.
Did you have addresses in there?
She does. So what's does the Adventist not, oh. The addresses aren't on the table of contents.
The Adventists is 255 South Southeast.
Yep, and that's still there. I drive by it frequently.
What was it?
255 South, 7th East. It's just north of the fire station. They're like just north of 300 South.
So the one that's. One that's been a theater and a church and a variety
Yeah,
of things.
the one that's in my neighborhood.
It's in here somewhere. I can't remember which one it was. There's some on Columbia Lane. Was St. Mark's Lutheran.
Oh, yeah. Is there an address there? Is that, yeah, 464 West, 3700 North. And this is St. Mark's. Oh, wait, is that one?
It's an old book.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if that's the one that, is this the one that they pulled over for
Oh,
homes?
Might be.
Or is that up there? Are you there?
This
Oh, yeah.
one is the Seventh Day.
Oh, that's 7th West. Can you go to 464 West? And 3700 North. Yeah. I think that's the one that they, yeah, I think it's houses now. It's just on the road going up to Costco. Yeah. So I thought.
Yeah.
They actually made a
yeah.
they made a good piece of money to that church. They built a church somewhere else, I guess, and they were like really thrilled. So like, hey,
That's something Catholic
It worked
still too.
if it works for you guys, then that's awesome.
So the Methodist Episcopal joined with the community.
That's what it was.
Did you get the address for the RLDS, that little chapel?
What do they call that road you guys exactly? The little
That-
BB.
That pitch like that?
No, right there where it was,
These?
these, yeah.
Hmm.
I've seen it on a few different buildings around Provo. And
It's very
Kind
distinct.
of like that
Very
butterfly
distinct.
roof.
Yes, it's 236 west.
I mean, a portion of it kind of
Portion
looks
of
like
it,
that.
yeah.
Oh, one more time.
But yeah,
236 west.
But I've seen them in
Multiple.
like, there's
West,
different,
400 south.
it's very interesting.
Go to 236 west, 400 south. West, 400 south. So this is the little RLDS house.
That right there?
That right there.
Oh my gosh.
People tell me that I'm wrong.
It does look like a church.
Oh, I don't
Sure,
think you're
it's
wrong.
cool.
The house next door, I think it's where the pastor lives.
Oh, do you?
And according to this book, that's where the pastor lives.
I mean, you can see it, how it could have been a church
Yeah, looks like,
I don't know.
/ school.
yeah, it also looks like a school. It looks like both.
Yeah,
Is this added on? This little,
I think so.
it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think when we did the tour there a few years ago, I don't remember that little porch being there.
Well, that. So it was in. Yeah, it had the overhang, but it didn't have the porch.
Oh, was that what it was? Okay.
Okay, so the old Grandview Ward Chapel was the First Baptist Church, so go to 1144 Columbia Lane. What would you say the address of that one that's close to your neighborhood?
What is that? It's 200 north, it's like 200 east, 200 north. Ish.
And I know it's very red about this one.
Which one's this Columbia Lane one? Which one's this? Used to be the-
First Baptist Church. This is the 80s, so.
First Baptist Church at Provo. What does it look like? Looks like it's. It actually looks about the same. I mean, there's similarities.
How old is that one, Chris? That looks like it's like 1920s or 30s, or maybe they just made it architecturally look like that.
This is a picture of when it was. But we also don't want too many.
When, oh, please, what would you say? 1948.
Well, the problem is if you do several, not all.
So that's why I was thinking, maybe I should just call someone from the Utah Valley Interfaith Association. They're having a national day of prayer on May 5th.
May 5th, yes.
You do Facebook,
I do Facebook.
but you see who belongs to the Utah Valley Interfaith
Sure. Let me
Association.
just find something real quick. This church. Is that it? No. Too far north. Okay, it's 100 north and 100
There's
east.
the library card in the back.
Can you go to that address?
There's a library card in the back of the book, did you see it?
The date too?
Yeah.
It sounded that way anymore, but
Yeah.
East, yeah.
it's due on September 15th, because I can check this out, because I'm.
Okay,
former-
turn around, keep spinning, go to north. Keep going, now go to north. Oh, right there. That
I've
church.
always wondered what,
Yeah, it's
What is that?
called Calvary City on a Hill.
it's fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful building.
When I was a student here, it was a theater.
Okay,
And it was like a black box. It was pretty cool. We saw A Man for All Seasons there, I think.
oh, and now it's the church, I mean.
And it was a church originally, and then I
Yeah.
think, but I'm not sure what church it was originally.
It's really cool.
So
What's,
here,
what's the address there? Is it 105? Is that what it is?
Looks like
First Church of Christ Scientific.
West.
east.
Oh,
So it's
I'm doing the
Christian,
same thing you did.
it's Christian Science.
Yeah, it was Christian Science? Is that what it was? Okay.
So 105 East, 100 North.
Okay.
Built in 1920. Cornerstone laid, planned for the 1921, cornerstone laid in 1926. And the first service was held the same year. So cornerstone laid in May, first services in July. Was officially dedicated in 1933 after we've been paid for. Cost of the building was, the lot was $17,000.
So what's the approach that we'd take? Would we have write-ups for each of these?
Write-ups, yeah.
So the more we do, the more work goes into that.
Yeah, I've reached out to this house or this church 2 different times when we've had it in my neighborhood for the tours, and both times nobody's ever returned my calls. So
So, I can, based on.
I'm guessing they're just busy.
Based on what's on here, I could easily do the historical write-up.
Okay.
I think it would be nice to have some kind of architectural.
Yeah.
Write-up, but that is beyond my
Capabilities.
knowledge. That's why we need Paul.
Right.
Or the previous person that had your position, he could do architectural write-ups.
Can you do architecture write-ups?
Me? No.
The only thing I can throw at that is it's like what neoclassical, kind of. Meaning neoclassical.
I would say,
don't think.
I would say it looks nice. That's my official
No, no.
professional.
Oh, no, you're not doing the right.
Yeah, I shouldn't do that. It looks awesome
Yeah, and I guess
or rad.
how much, if it's enough to just say the type of architecture,
And it might be,
and
it might be
Yeah.
then
enough.
maybe if there's some
Just to-
predominant features.
No, for that, I would
Or
say
if you could,
neoclassical.
maybe,
I could be wrong.
do you know architectural historians and all?
Yeah,
So, so
but no one alive. I can find,
Alan Barrett,
yeah, I bet you Alan would help us. Yeah, in fact, maybe let's finalize the list and I'll contact Alan, or do you want to?
I don't know Alan Barrett.
Okay, I do. And I'll just ask him and say, these are the chapels that we're looking at. Can you just give us a description of
And it's,
the architectural history?
Yeah.
Anything you know?
well, and there's probably someone that, we always had to do that when I was writing.
The write-ups,
Write-ups for the Historic Society, but
right?
I didn't have to do.
Well, and he might know somebody who knows.
And most people I do know worked at the U and now they're now retired, so.
Right. What other church, are there other churches we want to do? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we've got 7 right now.
So you were gonna look up on Facebook to see
Oh, yeah.
who,
We got
What
8.
was it that you wanted me to look up?
I wanted to look up the Utah Valley Interfaith Association.
I see Interfaith Choir.
No, that's. So here, but they have follow Utah Valley Interfaith on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it's Utah Valley Interfaith. Okay. And there's their website.
And tell me who belongs to that. That's what I was sort of.
The contact or
No, just what, I mean, I think that each.
What churches
Oh,
are,
which-
churches are,
let me see here. Clergy directory. That's it's a lot. I don't know if that's going to be helpful to us.
well,
That's a lot. I mean, it's like a couple hundred names.
okay, I was hoping it was just the individual.
Yeah, me too. And it might be, I just haven't found it yet.
So, do you know this church at all on Canyon Road?
I've seen it, yeah. Rock Canyon Assembly of God, yeah. That's a cool church.
3410 Canyon Road.
Oh, that's the one that kind of tucked into the mountain, right?
Mhm,
That
yeah,
one's very
it's really
cool.
pretty.
We should definitely feature that. That's really cool.
They came by their Rock Canyon name very honestly.
Yeah. That's a
It's
cool
really
building.
pretty. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
Rock Canyon Assembly of God. What's the address?
3410 Canyon Road.
It's called Rock Canyon Assembly.
This building was purchased at 600 West and 800 North. And the building was opened in 1972 and 1973 to construct this temple.
So Jesse, the Utah Valley Interfaith Association is a group of nearly 40 faith groups.
And it's the whole valley.
Yeah.
So,
And that's their description of themselves. So. So it doesn't give us like a list of, but I think, I mean, are there any other churches in there that you think we ought to?
There's one
Yeah,
that's more, it's also in like against the mountain where
Yeah.
Rock Canyon is. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like,
oh, yeah.
I'll drive by it and get the address, but it's on, what's the road that you go past the park there, Rock Canyon Park? The road there that you take to get to Rock Canyon Park, that
The one that
That
goes
parallels the-
parallel the mountain.
that parallels the mountain. Because there's
It's
one,
like by the, like, yeah, that one right there, right?
Yeah,
That one, the next.
that one.
up.
there's one,
Wait, that one or the other one? The one that goes east-west or northwest,
the one
north-south?
that goes north-south, so north-south. I thought there was a church that was on there that was really interesting, and maybe I'm just not. There was one up in the mountains too, that I've seen.
I have a really bizarre thing. If you Google it for me.
I would be happy because am I gonna get in trouble for your?
Just churches
your-
in
Wrong.
churches
I
in
could be
Provo.
remembering something
Oh,
wrong,
okay.
but I thought there's.
Just wanna make sure I'm not getting the FBI angry here. I got something really freaky I want you to look up, Matt, but I want you to do it on your device, not mine.
I don't use my phone.
This one?
Churches in
Yeah,
Provo, you
that's
said?
it. I think, let's zoom in on, there's one that's like a really cool, like mid-mod kind of rocky kind of apron church.
It's an LDS church, right?
Yeah, but it's architecturally very interesting. If I'm thinking of the right one.
Here we go.
Carter Church. Where's the Carter Church?
Father's House Christian Church.
It's in this book. It's pretty new in this book.
It's not a church. I mean, they don't have a traditional chapel.
Okay. Okay, the church list.
This one.
That's what I was thinking, but it's cool. I'll go drive by and let you know, you guys, because I'm just.
Yeah, send me the address.
Provo.
That one's pretty.
That one is pretty. That one's cool too. It's very cool. That's probably 60s, like 68 or something.
Yeah, 50s, 60s, easy.
What church is that?
It's an LDS chapel.
I never heard of it.
You've never heard of an LDS chapel?
No, I've never heard of Provo Bible Church. Yes.
You know, the other one that's also architecturally interesting is the one that's over in Provo on the northwest side before the freeway, but as you go up past the DI, you turn left, and it's up the hill there. By the elementary school,
Oh,
there's an
for
elementary
us,
school that's like
probably.
behind.
Okay, which
The
way?
walks away. Okay, so go to DI over at downtown Provo. I can get us there that way.
Okay,
I thought if I
the one
I
right
can
here.
drive us there.
Yeah, I understand. I did the same thing. I'm like, I know how to drive.
Go over to the DI that's over this direction, over west, go west from there. Okay, so for Chick-fil-A, get us to Chick-fil-A and I can get us from there.
So
Yeah.
there's Chick-fil-A, here's the
Okay.
DI.
So
I was
go up,
just speaking
go to
about
Milton there.
Being inclusive,
Go
that
to
there was a Spanish speaking.
Oh,
And then
so
go
should we
left.
include St. Francis?
Go left.
I think,
I don't think so.
More left.
you think so?
Then right back, right there. Yeah. That building. It's pretty interesting. And I think that's a 1960s building. So are we choosing like one from each faith? Are it's architecturally interesting? Is that like the thought, like one?
For most of
Or
the, most of the
two,
other
or-
churches, it's only one church.
Yeah.
It's just the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that has a.
Yeah, so I guess the question is if we pick an LDS chapel, which one?
Like the one that's the most architecturally stunning, I would think. Or interesting, or two that are like one that's one era, one that's another era, like one that's mid-century, a good representation of that, and one that's a good representation of, you know, the
When we get
turn of the
Turn of the
century.
century.
get into mid-century, they would just use the standard plan.
Yeah, they did. But they're still better than the ones that they do now.
They're really like that
Those
one's so
standard
interesting.
plans.
So we could do the third ward.
Yeah, we could do the third ward, we could do the first ward again. We've done the third ward before. Shoot, we could even do the fourth ward. It's not a church anymore, but
The one that's apartments now,
Mhm.
such a cool building.
I suppose, yeah.
Mark, he did such a good job. At least he kept it and like really worked with it. Have you been inside those units? Yeah.
About this one.
nicely done.
Yeah, that's the
That's
third ward.
really cool.
This is the third
Is
one.
it now a school? Is it-
It's like an academy.
It's a school. It's
Yeah,
a really cool building.
it is. Yeah, and we've had it on the tour before as far, they don't let us go inside. But we can certainly put it on the
We can
brochure.
we can do the seminary
Like I
building.
love that one room,
Oh,
that
yeah.
huge window. I bet that's so, is that like a gym or how fantastic is that window?
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
I don't know if that's rhetorical or
Right?
not, but that's
You know,
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I would
It's
have.
stunning every time I drive by. It's
Where's
like,
the window?
It's amazing.
it's the one, go back.
I know. It's just-
Oh, gotcha.
Where
There's
is
one
that?
ivy on it.
Oh,
He's
you're
looking at
big,
it.
buddy. You're big, buddy.
He's
How would you
looking at
miss that?
Historical version.
I'll look back in 07, it was like covered.
So cool.
It's like dark.
Okay, well,
That's like very.
I did find a whole lot more
Cambridge.
churches in Provo, so the number in Orem. The people that spoke with the new pastor were from the same church as this, only in Orem. The Orem Community United Church in Christ. But we used to see in Provo, so.
Go, can you go to the first ward chapel? Where that's at? It's the, let's see, what is that? 100 east and 200 south.
And we did have our lecture though, and that's what Paul did.
We had there several times, actually. But yeah, Paul, when Paul presented, he was there. Yeah, I know, and in part, it used to be in the state presidency there, so they could just get the building. It was easy. It was very convenient.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, just across from the county health. Yeah, that one.
No, it's good.
Which one's that? Oh, that's in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
That's a. I know that.
so that one's a cool one too.
Yes.
1920s.
It is really cool.
Different than the third ward. I think the third ward is more
In town.
dramatic.
Yeah,
I think is the word, right? I
I
mean,
think
because it's
so,
just,
too.
it's dramatic.
it's dramatic.
Here's the fourth ward.
I That's really great.
And there's
yeah.
me and my wife's first apartment across the street, there in that little blue house.
Oh my gosh.
The basement on one side is tiny.
And the fourth ward is the apartments now.
Yeah.
It was so successful, they go in other buildings.
And it
Yeah.
looks, yeah, he did a good job.
I remember
You
long
see so much
discussions
worse around.
about that on landmarks.
Really?
Windows.
For me. But it
Could have
is,
been worse.
it is stunning. I
It
mean,
is
it's beautiful.
Before that was a reception center for.
Right, a long time. Wasn't it?
It was a reception center? Oh,
Yeah,
for weddings?
for weddings.
And that'd be really cool.
Anyway.
They had to make sure we changed the inside for the apartment.
Yeah, I think so.
It was not that.
So what's the LDS, the third ward address?
Is this the
500?
this one?
No, that's the first ward.
The one
The
on
one's
Fifth West?
Fifth West,
Fifth
yeah,
West and,
like 200 north,
Yeah, let me go back.
right?
one.
Is it 100? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 100 north.
So just across the street. from the-
Discovery Academy.
Yeah. We need to go just to see the window.
Four
That's
seven.
funny.
That's
Provo
the
Third
window,
Ward
this is the
Chapel
window.
and amusement hall.
It's so funny.
That's an awesome name.
I
Four
had a
seven.
whole paper on
Amusement
amusement
hall.
hall, amusement halls,
Really?
recreation halls, or cultural pet centers.
Oh, interesting. I didn't, I'm unaware of this history.
Well, there's a historical context behind amusement hall.
It was,
That's what they called
That's what they-
cultural halls?
that amusement was the term you used, not just in the LDS church, but nationwide.
Yeah.
Was for recreation, that was,
Uh,
and then the recreation sounded more sophisticated. I wrote it all about it in my paper.
But amusement parks kept amusement instead of recreation parks, which should be.
Yeah.
Which would be a
Amusement
lot
halls-
less exciting
So
word.
amusements became more of like recreate, like amusement parks.
Amusement park.
It's just sort of free for
Fun games.
this is
and-
fun games. Recreation is supposed to be something that you learned from.
Yes, you recreate yourself in that moment.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you.
What was this
I
I
one?
love
mean, chalk up to a lot of things I don't know. That's just one of them.
What do they call that? Is it, the history of words, is that etymology, just like a.
Oh, etymology.
Etymology.
Etymology is about bugs. Etymology is words.
Etymology is so fascinating.
What was this one called?
That's the first word first.
I thought, I think that the third and the fourth are much more.
I think so.
Interesting.
I agree. I agree.
And because they have adaptive reuse.
Right.
This was the fourth, right?
Yeah, that's right. Since we're gonna be just south of there, like 2 blocks, maybe we ought to just put it on the brochure. I mean, it's close for people to walk over and look at it if you want. $396. 100 I always think it's funny whenever I have to call someone and they have to ship something to Provo. And I'm like, what's the address? 100 North, 200 West.
It's a
Huh?
street name.
Well,
That's
what?
not a street name.
Like, do you put a street after that or a road? I'm like, no, trust me. I grew up in Seattle, so I think it's weird too, but
But also like.
it's the way it makes sense and it works.
Sometimes, like a lot of times when I go to order things online, it's like, doesn't recognize this address.
Yeah, I've done
I'm
that.
like,
I've had that
what
too.
the heck? All the time.
But the address is real.
It's real.
Yeah, I live here all the time.
I live in that house.
Well, this is, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So of all the buildings, we looked at the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall, Seventh-day Adventist, the Provo Community Church, St. Mary's, the RLDS. I think we can still call it the RLDS Church because it was an RLDS church, right?
It did not become.
Community of Christ until much
later.
much later.
Even their church in Orem was done by the time they were community of Christ.
Right. So historically speaking, so Calvary City on the Hill, which used to be the Christian Science, the Rock Canyon Assembly of God, St. Francis. Oh, I put St. Francis on here. Jesse thinks we don't need to. I think we should.
There are apartments down
So it used to be a Catholic church.
And now it's apartments?
Yeah, they tore it down like on a weekend.
there. It was in terrible, terrible condition. It did not meet the opportunity. A woman who taught at BYU actually laughed and said she got a mission to help build the
It's like
church
4th
in Oregon.
North and 5th West.
And it just really did not meet their needs at all. And they could not build their new church unless that one was sold and there was no one that would use that building. I went to mass there once on a holiday, I think it was Easter, and no one could get in. And it was just crowded with weird little rooms, and it was a mess. And I've been to mass in their new building. First, they couldn't even build the chapel, they just built the recreation hall. But
Maybe it's 100.
Are we
No,
doing the new
it's gotta be
building?
200 or 300.
Because it's the one in Orem? Or
it's one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to the new building. It's kind of like modern.
And it meets the needs that they had.
Now the question is if they'll have some historical photos to
Do they
look
have
for
any-
the old building.
Are you thinking about putting the new one in Orem?
No,
on
no,
there?
No,
Oh,
no, no, he was just saying,
So my-
remember the site.
My reasoning is a cautionary tale
In
about
memoriam.
the importance of preservation. That's why.
Well, see, because of talking to Judas,
Doesn't go back that far. It looks like.
talking to Judas so much and having been to church there, I think that you need to say that some things can't be kept.
Sure, fair. What's our mess? All right,
I see keep everything, but that's just me.
I will remove it.
There's some things that are, my sister who had this little old house in Salt Lake, and she said, not everyone that built a house was a craftsman. It was
That's true.
complete junk.
So this gives us
That's true.
10 buildings then.
Ten's a nice
That's a
round
good
number.
number.
So with St. Francis leaving,
Which 10 did you have? I felt like I had
Okay, so.
other.
So maybe
so
he will Xerox, maybe you can Xerox this fancy handwriting for us.
no,
So I
you
don't
just
have
have
to-
to,
have
you just
to
have to
write
write it down, memorize it.
You got St. Mary's.
So Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh Day, Provo Community, St. Mary's, RLDS, the First Baptist Church,
St. Provo Community.
Christian Science. I'll send these to you. Rock Canyon,
And you'll send them to me too, because I'm gonna be the one doing the research, so.
fine.
I'm trying to track that one on.
Still a little bit about St. Francis, but whatever. And then 2 LDS chapels, the 3rd Ward and the 4th Ward. So those are the 10 that I have.
Do you have St. Mark's?
No, because it doesn't exist.
St. Mark's. I thought that was.
That's the one that's houses
Oh.
now,
Houses.
like up from Will's Pit
It's the one
Stop.
with the
That's right.
butterfly.
Yeah. Gotcha. It's First Baptist. Columbia Lane.
Yeah, let's try Columbia Lane.
Interfaith. Okay. So those will be the ones.
So
you're
I'll
gonna check to see if Alan would be able to
Help us with the
help
architectural.
the architectural.
I know like I believe definitely on the 3rd Ward, possibly on the 4th Ward, we already have write-ups. Yeah. I know in St. Francis we do as well. And on the RLDS church too. Since that's been on the tour. So at least 3 of them, we already have write-ups. We might actually already have something on the Christian Science church too. I think it's possible. So what I'll do is when I get home, I'll just type everything up and send them out to everybody.
Okay,
Um,
and I can do historical research on them.
okay. And what I'll do is I'll type these up and then if there's information that we already have, I'll include that.
Okay, so you would have them in your file.
Yeah, I've got them. If we've got it, I've got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you have it too.
No, I don't have it.
Okay.
Do
So we've got the when, we've got the what, where,
It's the who. We still need people to
working on
speak.
the who.
Okay, I have ideas.
Tell me. Tell us. You,
Well, I think it would be I think that the pastor of the
Hmm.
congregational church should be invited to speak
absolutely.
and talk about.
And there's a write-up, because they just got on the nomination, the National Register, so there's plenty of
That's great.
stuff on that one. And he
All right.
So
took
if
us on a tour, but he knows quite a bit. I'm sure he could talk for a while on it.
What's his name?
Here's it
remember?
right here.
Oh, his name.
Lewis.
Keith.
Keith Couples?
Mhm.
Okay, that might be a different one than I.
He is the pulpit supply pastor.
He's the one I've always seen do all the little presentations.
Okay.
There might be someone else. But he's the person I've always noticed, so. Or maybe just ask,
Yeah,
who
I
did
think
you
it-
talk to when you called the church? Did you talk to someone in particular?
Yeah, no, they contacted me originally. It was one of their persons that's doing like a community member that's doing outreach that works at UVU.
So
I can't remember her name.
when you called to schedule it, is that the person you called then?
Mhm.
Well, why don't, if you have a contact with her, why don't you call her and say, we would like to invite someone
Okay.
from the church?
It's a good idea.
And I'll get you that name.
So who else? So we're thinking someone from the church, obviously. And then who else? Or is that it?
Well, I thought it would be interesting if any of the churches had people that have been here for a while and have them talk about their church.
That would be interesting. It could get pretty,
We
I
have,
think we should keep
pretty
it
long.
architecturally too, like, well, yeah, and historical.
okay.
okay, so
So that's an idea.
if you're going to,
I gave you St. Francis. Just keep that in mind.
if you're going to ask Alan Barrett for some architectural descriptions,
Mhm.
ask them if that's something, if he would be interested in talking.
I'm sure he would. I think he would be willing to. He's told me before he'd be willing to.
I mean, I mean, if it's not something that he immediately knows.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that?
Okay.
And but give him a time limit,
Yeah.
because I've heard him,
When he spoke at the First Ward Chapel a couple of years ago on the 50th anniversary of the Provo Temple, he could have gone a lot longer.
and he went too long,
Yeah, he did.
way too
He
long.
did. He did. Okay.
Even Paul went way too long when he.
Paul was really long. Yeah. But I was,
And I'm fairly certain whoever was speaking for the church could also be long, but I think they should have an opportunity to talk about the church.
maybe what we'll do is,
So I just
Well,
talked myself out of anything but doing historical.
yeah, I heard that too. What we'll do is I'll contact each of these churches and let them know what we're doing and feel them out and see if they would like to participate.
That would be,
And if they don't, then
and
we
that's.
kind of can
and-
retreat that way and
And
see
if you would like to help contact.
see what their
some of these
level of
churches,
participation is.
Would you like to help contact some of these churches?
Yeah, you can divide it and give me something.
Because
Great.
that's the one thing that I don't like to do.
Okay.
Oh,
I like to hide in my corner. I'm a
Oh.
historian.
oh, I have no problem with that.
Of course you don't.
You tell me who to call.
And
Okay,
I'll
great.
already be reaching out to St. Mary's, so I can ask them
Great.
if they want to talk about that.
Great.
My only concern was that since she's a brand new pastor, but I'm sure that there's some long time memories that might be a possibility.
Right.
And I
And we
guess we
want
could
them to
talk more about the
We
architecture.
want to talk about the building, not just about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And architecture and history,
we're wanting
any interesting.
it's a community history appreciation rather than an evangelical.
Right.
And I don't think anybody's going to have an issue with that anyway, but
And if we get too many, then we'll have to really limit the amount of time that.
right. Well, that's my little wondering how we'll do that. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
that was my only idea, was that we could.
If there was one or two.
Other-
I think it's a great idea though. Thank you. Is there anything else we need to cover?
So are we gonna have refreshments?
I think that'd be cool if like each of the, I mean, if they wanted to, if they had a little bit of, like a little table outside with
Oh, yeah.
refreshments. But I mean, I guess it's up to them if they want.
So in the past, Josh has gotten, have we done it with you? I can't
I
remember if we've done it with
I haven't
you.
done one.
Yeah, so Josh got, basically went over to Sam's Club and got a bunch of
Brownies and cookies and stuff.
cheesecakes
For the
and
beginning or the.
cookies.
Sometimes they got.
for afterwards.
For
Yeah,
afterwards, okay.
then like
That's
some
probably
drink.
easier
Yeah,
than each
So
place.
after the sunrise service, they have a little reception kind of area. Outside of the sanctuary where they had refreshments, so.
Okay.
So
so they have a place that they can do it.
Oh, I thought you
and
said
I think that it might be a little subservient, that since they're allowing, I mean, she's the church, they ought to be able to have their signs up and their attempts to raise money to.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Personally. As a former fundraiser, I think anytime somebody can ask. And have it-
So this is the program for the Easter sunrise service.
Because aren't they trying to raise money for the architectural restoration?
Yeah, for the,
And so
And
there's
it's in line with what.
there's a
this
whole
is.
little write-up on that.
yeah, they
Oh,
want
okay.
to build a new thing.
So the other thing we talked about last time was awards, and I looked in to see, because you mentioned
Oh,
that
the
maybe
awards.
there were some that were
So I've got,
never.
I have a list of awards.
You got some,
Yeah,
okay.
and I can send them over to you.
And then what have we done on those? Is it a certificate, kind of a, going through stuff, I saw some
Yeah.
certificate.
Yeah, so we did certificates in the past. So there's 5 that we had designated but have never given. So the state hospital, a stewardship award or a recognition for the state hospital, a restoration award for the county courthouse, adaptive reuse for Mighty Baker. I don't even know if they're still around.
Not in business.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think they're over in Riverwoods.
Are they? Adaptive reuse for the Bright Building.
Library.
And then the Stephen Hales Award for Tom and Anders Taylor, who own the Bright Building.
Yeah, he moved over to Riverwoods. He shares a space with the toy
I can
store.
send these over to
It's
you,
like in the back
and then you
part
can
of
kind
the
of kick
toy
around and
store.
see if there's a way we want to get.
Just like
To do
a
it.
certificate, because yeah, he had some template.
Yeah.
Certificate, so yeah, if that's
Yeah.
what it was.
I think that's all it was.
I was thinking, like Amanda Night Hall or ones that have gotten put on the register
Since,
since.
I think that would be
Or
good.
should we focus on these and then get those?
These people don't know.
And it's been maybe
It's been
too
5,
long that
it's been 5 or 6 years.
maybe we just
So I think,
start fresh.
I think for some of them, I think like for like Tom and Anders with the Bright Building and startup and all the stuff they've been doing, it wouldn't be terrible to recognize them anyway with the Stephen Hales Award. But I think you're right with like Amanda Night Hall, recognize them.
Community church just got their.
Right, the community
nominations,
church.
maybe that.
And since we're gonna be there, that'd be a really nice thing.
And then we had that Milner Wright home that just got put on the landmarks register.
Right.
So those were ones.
So if we just did that, I think that would be
And then
fun.
if we've done facade grants in the downtown, there's a couple of those that.
Which ones have we done facade grants for? In the
So
last year?
the Davis Milnery on the corner where the Fruita Crush was. Or is that,
It turned out nice.
Yeah.
With the mural inside.
yeah, so the mural's gone, but, oh no, there's new murals,
The
right?
new
Yeah,
murals
where the
that-
dolphin
that-
was, now
yeah.
there's the.
The nice thing about having awards is awards bring people. And people fills up the room.
Well, also, I mean, it, you know, incentivizes
And
people
hopefully encourages, yeah,
to conserve and to preserve. and
yeah, that's
To
right,
restore things, and
that's right, that too.
that would be great.
That
We really want them to do that. Please. Tear down your building.
Anything else?
So I,
So you get to work on getting the historical, I'll find out from Alan about the architecture.
And
I'll send the
if
list.
you don't, if I don't hear,
If you don't hear from me by tomorrow, call me.
okay.
I'll do it right when I get home.
I think something happened that I never knew that the data, the place had been confirmed, so I never got that email. Did
Yeah.
you get that email?
No, I don't think anybody got it. That's my guess. It was right when I was traveling. I was at my in-laws' house. Anyway. Okay, well, then this concludes our meeting. We're adjourned until next time. But we probably ought to meet next month as well. Circle up, and figure out where we're at. All right, adjourned.
Sure.
Okay.
Good seeing you guys. It's nice to be in person.
Yeah,
I like the Zooms, but in person is so much nicer.
Not very fond of Zoom. I finally have to break down a computer so I can do Zoom, but I still figured that I still walked over here because, well, I just walked over here.